So, hi all. This is a video on the recent model question paper that got released for this engineering service exam 2017. Uh, so this video contains all the solutions for that. So the first question talks about five candidates, A, B, C, D, E had written and examination and relationship between that. D scored it twice as E. So the solution goes for this like this. D equals 2 times E. C equals A plus B by 2. And A equals, oh, sorry. So it goes like this. D equals 2 times E. C equals A plus B by 2. And A is E plus 23. And B is D minus 5. And finally, they have said E is 42. So final solution goes like this. It is 72. The solution is 72 because as you can see, D becomes 84 and and, and C becomes 72. A is 65. B is 79. All right, this is for the first question. Now let us look at the second question. It talks about UN conference on environment and development known as Rio Summit led to a final development of which is international treaty. The solution is Kyoto Protocol. So here the solution is Kyoto Protocol. Uh, so this talks about there's a protocol that happened long ago actually. It talks about the greenhouse gas emission by UN. And to give a short idea about the other things, this universal environment TT is something to do with 2015 that happened recently. Uh, it talks about the COP21. You can browse through the COP21, you'll understand it better. And there are two other protocols I thought I'll add information to. One is the Montreal Protocol. I think this question was there in this 2016 ESE. It talks about the ozone layer. And there was another thing called Bali Action Plan. I think that was also there the recent year. Bali Action Plan. It talks about the UN climate change. So this is something that I think you should know for this current affairs part. Now to talk about the third question, which talks about the which part is moral. Uh, okay, the solution here is D. One, two. Here the solution is D, 1, 2, 3. And the fourth one is actually not a moral. The fourth one is called ethics. This is the difference between the moral and the ethics. Moral is something to do with the good, right, wrong that comes out of your conscience, I mean, the inner mind. And ethics is something that is defined by people, government, and an organization. So that is what is ethics all about. It's a way of, it is something that is defined by a group of people. So I think the choice here is 1, 2, 3 is a correct choice, something to do with moral. The fourth one is something to do with ethics. And to talk about the uh, fourth question is quite obvious. The choice is B here. Choice is B. Here the screen. So the choice is B. So which one completed last? A completed last. The solution, I mean, we could go like this. So who completed last? Let us say, let us give names. This first, second, third, fourth. Uh, Now D. The question is, uh, next thing, fifth question. Consider the following statements regarding the responsibilities of a NSDL, National Securities Depositories Limited. If you have any time owned shares, you might have come across this word. This is something that usually the share market works like this: that one person buys shares and he sells. When he sells, it goes into another person's hand. So the days before, there was something called a hard copy, where the names of same like a property of a house, the shares also, or when they are sold, they have to be registered in another man's, I mean, the other person's name. But after this NSDL, the everything is electronic. So that is how this online share trading happens. Only if it is electronic, you can buy it now and sell it now. If it is not electronic, if it is all physical, then you can think of, when you sell a share today, it takes a couple of days to transfer it to some other person's name. Only then you can. Only then that person can sell. So it is all nothing can be done within a day or something like that. But NSDL, when it came into picture, everything became online. So when it became everything became online, you can do it just whenever you feel like. You can just sell it and buy it. The right moment you buy it, you are ready to sell. So NSDL helps you in that way. And the solution for this question is C, where the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the three choices are correct. Take some take black. And why C is not a correct choice? This is not a responsibility of NSDL. NSDL does not care about physical delivery. Only if there is a personal requirement, request, that something that you do. So, but that is not a responsibility of NSDL. So definitely choice C is not correct. I mean, the three is not responsibility of NSDL. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 are correct choices. We'll talk about the next question. Uh, Consider the following statements regarding the safety in a workplace. The safety in a workplace, primarily it has two reasons. That it provides the primary purpose is, definitely we know that it provides comfort and confidence in the workers. When there is a confirmed, apart from this, because of this safety, the company spends less money on the people's health insurance, things like that. And also the number of holidays that employees take when they are more safe is very less. So definitely the profit margin is gets enhanced. So uh, choice B is the correct choice here, where 2 and 3 are the correct regarding the safety of the workplace. It attracts tourists. Visitors is something that's not a part of the, and that's not the sole reason for having the safety, although it is a consequence. All right, I'll go for the second question. I mean, seventh question. Seventh question, the simple trick that I found was, find the difference between the question talks like this: what is the sales projection? If you can sell some 85,000 on 2011 and 2012, it goes, if it is getting increased every year, what is the projected sales that you can have in 2016? It's quite pretty obvious that find the difference between every year. What is the amount that is getting increased every year? That will give you the choice. Uh, when we talk about that, the difference of these two is 2500, and then the difference of here is 2600, and the difference here is 2710, and the difference here is 2815. Since the difference is also increasing, you can calculate the increase in difference here, approximately 2005, 6, 7, 8, and the next would be definitely 9. So 2915, anything greater than 2915. So it is choice B, 98545. All right. Now talk about the area of the quadrilateral for this question. The simpler solution would be, how do we approach? The approach would be find the total area of this, and then subtract the area of this rectangle. I mean triangle. The area of a rectangle goes like this: half base into height, half base into height. So half base into height. What is the base for this? Base for this is 12, and the height for this is 6. So it should be 13 into 3, 36. And to subtract the area of this, what is the base of the height? Base would be half into uh, 8, and the height would be 2. Since this is 9 into 3, here it is 1, so 3 minus 1, 2. You end up getting 8. So the difference between these two is 28. So 28 is the correct choice. Talking about the next question, which one conforms to a ethical practice? There are 4 points. The first 2 points talks about the organizational function, how an organization can function better, and how the effectiveness of an organization can be improvised. Definitely, the first thing and the second thing talks about organization, which has got nothing to do with the ethics. Although there is nothing to talk about ethically correct or wrong here. It is there is nothing wrong in having an informal base of power. That does not talk about the ethics. And the second thing also talks about having a senior range. These are all necessities for a better organizations. It has got nothing to do with ethics. Only the third and fourth has got nothing something to do with ethics. Cause a change in the behavior or attitude of another person. This is called influencing. Yes, this is influencing is definitely not allowed. It's not an ethical practice. And the fourth thing also talks about influence. So the choice C is correct. The first two are non-ethical. Here the choice C is correct. 3 and 4 are the ethical practice, and these two have got nothing to do with ethics. They are just more of a organizational betterment. So talk about the 10th question. 10th question uh, is more like hardness, I mean, which is a non-destructive testing method. As a matter of fact, all the four are non-destructive testing method. All these four are non-destructive testing methods. Hardness testing, liquid penetrating. I mean, the hardness testing is something done by. It's not a destructive way. You just type hardness testing, but it's more of a concrete hardness testing. How do they do it? You can place a big concrete and give a pressure on it, and how much it penetrates in inside it is very very small. There is nothing that nothing get distracted here. And liquid penetrant method, again, it's quite obvious. For a concrete, you can imagine liquid penetrant method is definitely non-destructive. Magnetic particle inspection, obvious, it's a non-destructive method. Concrete test hammer, there's more of a simple iron hammer where the intention is not to break, just to test if it is strong, with the kind of vibrations and the feel of the uh, feel of the hit that you do it with a hammer. So obviously all the four are non-destructive methods. So it is choice D here. Choice D here. Okay. What is the main purpose of a preventive maintenance of a construction equipment? It is choice A, that to prevent delay or failure. Choice A, delay or failure. To talk about other points to think of here, collected some. Uh, the other benefits of other purposes of preventive maintenance of a construction equipment is equipment downtime is reduced and the number of repairs are also reduced. Better construction, better conservation of the assets and increased life, reduction of overtime costs. So these are the other points that I could collect on this topic. So the next question is, consider the following steps which are used while solving design problems. The steps for design problems, I think it would be better if we could give a test for design problems. I mean, the steps. First is the define the problem, and second is brainstorming solutions, and the third is uh, pick a solution. Fourth is implement a solution. Finally, review. Fifth is review. So obviously here which matches the choice is choice C, 2413. Consider the following, which of the above are relevant to the uh, design of river training works. River training works is uh, something like uh, something to maintain the river. How do they maintain the river? There are 2 points here: flow channelization and bank protection. Flood moderation is something to do with more of a flood. I mean, if it is getting, how do you avoid floods? That is what it is more about it. And sediment control is again to keep the soil from erosion. Mainly, it is seen in the construction site, and flood moderation is something to do with the dams. How do you maintain dams? There is not something that they do every time. I mean, river draining works is something that is done in a routine manner. So only flow channelization and bank protection. This is something that is done. So choice C is a correct choice here. Sorry, choice C. 2 and 3 are the river training works, and 1 and 4 are, one is something to more to do with the construction of dams and maintenance of dams, role of dams here, that is what flood moderation. Sediment control is something more to do with practice of designed to keep the soil erosion mainly from the construction sites. So it leads us to choice C, where 2 and 3 are relevant to the design of river training works. Okay, so now to talk about the biomass energy. uh, it is generated from organic material, plant, animal waste. So obviously one is fine, correct. It is easily available. That is also correct. Most of these materials are easily available. And the third thing is biomass boilers are less expensive. This is not true. As a matter of fact, biomass boilers are some 3 times more costlier than the oil boilers. So the boilers, when you talk about boilers, biomass, this is not true. Biomass boilers are, to give you some idea about, if this is 7,000 rupees, 700 rupees, let us say this is 700 rupees biomass boilers, you get oil boilers for something around 250 rupees, to give you an idea of how costlier this can be. So 1 and 2 is a correct choice, or in other words, A is a correct choice. Okay, so the next question is, okay, this is, okay, concrete cement is used in a precast plant at a rate of 30 tons per month continuously. The cost of a cement is 2,600 per ton. The ordering cost per order is rupees to 125. This is something that ordering cost is something like one time, whether you order 10 tons, 100 tons, the ordering cost is going to be same. and the wastage cost is 4.5%. So the economic order of a quantity of a cement, how which one will be the economic order? We know that here, see, the this is if you have 10 tons, there is going to be 26,000. If you have 100 tons, there is going to be 2.6 lakhs. So this is not going to change, it's going to stay the same, and the percentage is also going to stay the same, how much is going to get wasted. Only thing that is constant is 125. Whether you order 1 ton, 100 ton, 1000 ton, this number is going to stay the same. So which one will be more economic? The more you order, you get it's more economic way of doing it. I mean, the total cost is going to come down. So here it is choice D, 12 ton per order. This is the correct choice. Because say for example you end up when you order 4 tons, you're going to multiply this with 4 and then plus 125. When you order 7 tons, you're going to multiply this with 7 plus 125. 8 tons into 8 plus 125. When you divide it by finally by total cost that is rendered, say for example you multiply this with 4, and you get something around 10,400 divided by plus 125 divided by 4. That cost is going to be higher when you multiply this with 12 and then add 25 and again divided by 12, you're going to get a lesser number. So definitely this is an economic order. Okay, so this is about environmental impact assessment. How much a project is going to impact environmentally. When we talk about this, I found these couple of points that should be beneficial. Uh, that environmental impact assessment. Why do we do that? I mean, it's more like a informed decision making. First point. Second is environmentally sensitive decision, and the third thing is increased accountability and transparency. Fourth one is reduced environmental damage. And fifth is improved integration of projects into their environment and societal settings. So when we come to the choices of here, uh, you see one is true that lay of land, particular large depressions which may hold, this is something whenever a new project is coming up and in a locality, this is something that should be considered. So point one is true, and food habits of a local population has got nothing to do with the environment population, so definitely point 3 you can leave it off. And when it comes to point 5, nearness to the national highways, this is something this has got nothing to do with environmental impact assessment. This has got something to do with infrastructure although, so not 5. And availability of higher educational institutes, again this has got nothing to do with environmental impact assessment. So definitely 3, 5, 6 or some nothing to do with environmental impact assessment. This leaves us with a choice of C, 1, 2, and 4. So this is a correct choice, 1, 2, and 4. All right. Now there's a question on cash reserve ratio. What is this cash reserve ratio? Cash reserve ratio is a ratio. Say, if, for example, when you start a bank and you have got a deposit of 1,000 rupees, if someone has deposited 1,000 rupees in your bank, Reserve Bank has a rule that currently it is 4% cash reserve ratio. What does it mean? You have to take 40 rupees out of the 1,000, put it in Reserve Bank of India, and that for 40 rupees has to be maintained. So this is something that Reserve Bank of India maintains as a necessary, because say for example, this is a way RBI controls all other banks. RBI is the central bank of India. It tries to control all other banks. How does it control? Using this cash reserve ratio. Say for example, it wants people to get more money, then it says I'm going to lower the cash reserve ratio. In other words, say for example, if it reduces from 4% to 3%, then 97% is available with the bank, so they can give that money outside and they can make more money, and people also get more money. So it tries to uh, maintain the control the liquidity in the market. So here the choice is both 1 and 2. It is a way that uh, RBI controls all other liquidity in the market, and it is a money that RBI maintains with it. The only problem with cash reserve ratio is small information. That only point with cash reserve ratio is the money that you deposit in the a bank deposits in RBI, they don't get the interest back, and that is why banks are reluctant about this. They want to reduce this percentage as lower as possible. You can think of this in the 1990s, before this opening up of a market. The cash reserve ratio was some 15-16%. It has come down to 4% now. So in other words, that has improved the banks to lend more money outside. They also make more money. People also get more money. When they get money, they also get loans for their business, banks, I mean business, house, or whatever. So everybody is happy. So that way, this is a way that RBI, high CRR, lesser liquidity. More money RBI holds, banks will not have more money to give outside. So lesser liquidity. Uh, okay. Next question is metamaterials. Uh, Metamaterials is a material with negative refraction index. What do we mean by negative refraction index? Uh, let's give a small example. I think this is something more interesting. Say, for example, you want to become you want to disappear in from other sides. Say, for example, you want to typically we have seen in James Bond movies where a car disappears. Something like that happens with metamaterials. That is what metamaterials do. What they do is, say, if how do we see? If we say this is an eye, this is how we see. Uh, Light comes from somewhere, hits, and it comes back to our eye, and that is how we see it. What if this material can take that light, bend it this way, and pass it like this, and when it comes back, bend it like this, come back to us. So in other words, this is this is getting disappeared. This way of bending of uh, light ray happens with a negative refractive index. That is what metamaterial do. They are not naturally occurring materials, so this one is absolutely correct. That is something, till now they have not found it naturally. This is something has to be synthesized. And then they showed negative refractive index, so both are correct. They are used to design planar lenses. This is absolutely true. The lens they because when a lens is designed using a metamaterial, uh, the quality of the quality of the lens is very very good. You can check this topic called the super lens. You might get more information about that. So definitely it is choice A. All the above are correct. Okay, so consider the following characteristics in respect to the intrinsic semiconductor. The intrinsic semiconductor here is it behaves as a conductor or at absolute zero. That is not true. It behaves as an insulator at a absolute zero. So one is not correct. And then the conductivity can be changed by adding impurities. This is correct. So one is correct. Sorry, one is wrong, and two is correct. When you look at choices like this here, no, one and two everywhere it goes around. So I think there is something, some choice might somewhere the choices are wrong here, because one is not correct, and two is correct. No choice is matching such a situation. The conductivity gets, yes, they do get improved when you add impurities. In other words, extrinsic semiconductor. So, and it has a narrow band gap between valence, and this is also correct, and this is correct. This is wrong. It can be used in a power transmission line. I don't think so. This is not also correct. So it's only two and three. No choice matches here. Okay. Okay. We'll talk about cloud computing. Uh, Private cloud means, as we all know, it's more like if you have, say, for example, you can it's more like a shared It is private. Cloud means it's something that is shared from, say, for example, you want to do anything. Okay. Yeah, cloud computing is something to do with distributed computing. I mean, where it's called loosely coupled distributed computing, because see, you wanted to do, say, for example, you have a big process to run. You want a big supercomputer. If you don't have a big supercomputer, what you can do is we can distribute the small set of process to so many other computers, and then you get the solution. You put it together. So cloud computing is something like that. Now, usually distributed computing, there are some fixed number of, typically there are fixed computers. Say, for example, you can get some buy 10 computers and put it together, do distributed computing. Cloud computing is something to do with internet. Uh, Say there are big servers, so many other people use. All you can do is you just have to write a program and give it to so many other big servers, get the solution done. So it is something to do with internet based distributed computing. uh, and when it comes to private, the point is obvious. Private cloud, not everyone can use it. It is only by predefined group of people. It has elastic behavior as well as scalability, it is true. You If the number of, if it requires more computers, you get more processing. If it requires more processing, you get more computers. So scalability is a feature of a cloud computing. Yes, you can scale it. If you have 10 lines of program, still fine. 1,000 lines of program is still fine. Accordingly, you will the cloud, I mean, the number of processors processing, you'll get more. So it's more of internet based. You can get any amount. And the cloud environment can be accessed from anywhere. Since it has got something to do with internet, this is also correct. So it is choice D, where 1, 2, 3, 4 all are correct. Choice A, everything is a correct choice. uh, First two are something to do with private cloud. The public cloud is something that anyone can access. Private cloud has some restrictions. That's all it's all about. Okay, so next is ferromagnetic piece of iron. Here, one only. The net magnetization 2 is not correct. It is one only. Choice A. Choice A is only correct. Net magnetization of this total mass is 0. No, not correct. Okay, there's a question on the ICT tools in engineering practice. Consider the following statements regarding the employing ICT tools. ICT means information and communication technology tools in engineering projects. It provides clearer overview. Yes, the from the statement that ICT, information and communication, point one, and it must be able to share information. Yes, this is also true. Point two, because it is communication. They help to cut down the overall cost of the projects. Uh, Yes, they do help to cut down overall cost of the projects with effective monitoring to safeguard against delays. Yes, you get all these functions. So it is 1, 2, 3. All the three are correct. And when it comes to e-governance, what is the objectives addressed by the e-governance? Uh, Dissemination means giving out all the information. I mean, it's like publishing the information about the policies and schemes of a project government. This is correct. Confidently you can say one is correct. And choice 4, facilitating settlement of dues to the government. No, this has got nothing to do with e-governance. This is not the objective of e-governance. So option 1 is correct, option 4 is wrong. So this leaves us with only one choice, that choice A, 1 and 2, follow up on the implementation of the government's welfare schemes. Okay, so now this is a question on distribution model. I mean, it is again something to do with the cloud computing. There's a question on cloud computing where what are the which one is the uh, applications are hosted by service provider. It is choice C, software as a service. This has got something to do with cloud computing. We could add a little bit more information here. Cloud computing, when it comes to cloud computing, there are three services. One is the IaaS, where infrastructure as a service, and the other two are platform as a service and software as a service. Here, the answer is software as a service. It's quite obvious. So there are two other points. One is the platform as a service, where OS is offered as a service, and the one more point is infrastructure is offered as a service. There are three services that you get through a cloud computing. Uh, and here the point is applications are hosted by the service. In other words, you have the OS, you have computer. It's more just an application that you get from outside. So it's a software as a service. Okay, plagiarism, it using intellectual property of the others without their permission. Yes, one is correct, two is also correct. So both one and two. Choice C here. Uh, both one and two. Okay, here. Human rights for all cannot be realized comprehensively without right to development. This is true. In a recent United Nations human rights, they have said that right to development is an inalienable human right. This is a word that I would like to stress. So it is definitely one is correct, and right to development ensures the right realization of all the human rights. It is absolutely true. So the choice here. The choice is sorry. Choice is A here. Both are true. Okay, so now this is a question on project anatomy may not need an initiation stage. No, project anatomy needs an initiation stage. The phases of a project management is first one is initiation, second is the definition, third is a design, fourth is a development, fifth is a implementation, sixth is a follow up. So the first stage is a initiation. So choice one is not correct. The statement 2 is correct. The life cycle of operating should be considered for the investment appraisal. The word appraisal in a project management means assessment. Yes, when you try to assess the amount of that has to be invested, life cycle cost of the operating machine has to be considered. So it is uh, choice 2 is correct, or in other words, it is choice 2 is true and choice 1 is false, so it is option D here. Here it is option D. Make a note. Here it is option D. This is correct. This is not correct. Okay, denuding of a forest cover followed by quarrying, leveling. I mean, terrace leveling may cause landslides. That is true. Whenever a forest, I mean, the upper layer of the soil is removed, and that's what denuding of the forest is, more cutting of trees and the upper layer of the soil is removed. Then definitely the soil gets loose, so landsliding is do cause. So this is true. These activities aid in recharging into groundwater. Actually not, because when the uh, upper soil is removed, the water gets washed off and they don't seep into the ground. So uh, this is true and this is wrong. So it is choice C. And what happens for the 29th point? Yeah, Web 2.0 is a data is king. We can create web mashup. And there's again more to do with cloud computing. No, we cannot call it cloud computing. It's more of a distributed computing. Both are true. Web, you can type this word web service in Google, and then you can look for it. You'll get more information on that. Uh, Web service development language, WSDL, things like that are available. And so here it is choice 2 is also correct. and choice 1 is also correct. But is choice 2 a correct explanation of choice 1? I think yes. Uh, Web 2.0 we can create web mashup, yes, because this happens only because of the loosely coupled, distributed computing. uh, yes, I think this choice here, it is choice A. Both are correct, so it is choice A.